If you had the power to destroy evil that was making your family and neighbors suffer, would you? Vigilantism is the act of taking the law into one's own hands, often through violent means, to punish evil. Laws were meant to protect and serve the people, yet we live in a society where powerful individuals exploit these laws at the expense of others. Akumetsu's goal is to clean up the evil of the world. He'll commit any crime or any evil in order to bring peace, even if it means giving his own life. But vigilantism doesn't occur only in fiction. Luigi Mangione is being charged for the alleged murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Some evidence against him points to Mangione's role in fighting against our deeply flawed healthcare system. But are Akumetsu's and Mangione's actions truly justified? This video will delve into the morally gray nature of vigilantism and explore its depictions in Akumetsu and its echoes in real life through Luigi Mangione. Akumetsu is a 2000s manga with similar themes to manga such as Death Note and Code Geass. But unlike these other shows, Akumetsu most likely won't receive an anime adaptation due to its parallel to real Japanese officials. The manga follows Sho, or Akumetsu, a masked vigilante who adopts extreme and violent methods to dismantle corruption and greed within Japan, using terror as his weapon. Akumetsu targets influential figures responsible for the suffering of ordinary citizens, creating a public spectacle to highlight their crimes. For those who suffer under systematic corruption, Akumetsu is a symbol of hope, a hero who has sacrificed clones of himself to fight for the powerless, giving them a voice. But to those higher-ups, he's a terrorist who's after their lives. Vigilantism often arises as a response to systematic problems, particularly when it comes to legal and social institutions failing to deliver. These failures are frequently the result of corruption and manipulation by the wealthy and powerful. They emerge as agents of justice in a world where the law falls short. In such circumstances, vigilantes become a symbol of rebellion, embodying the frustrations and hope of many of those who feel abandoned by the system designed to protect them. Akumetsu emerged in response to the rampant corruption and greed plaguing Japanese society. Iwasaki Shozo, the former vice minister of the Ministry of Finance, behind closed doors, engaged in pedophilia and embezzlement. He is one of the parasites plaguing Japanese society that needs to be removed, yet hasn't been. But Iwasaki was only one of Akumetsu's targets. Akumetsu's true motive for going after the evil in society is out of revenge for his friend Katsuragi Keiichi, whose blood cannot cauterize. Katsuragi contracted hepatitis C due to a contaminated fibrinogen concentrate, a failure linked to the negligence and irresponsibility within the healthcare industry. The infection ultimately led to his death due to cancer, leaving Akumetsu devastated. Akumetsu then used many of the clones of himself and the memory transfer device within the mask to enact revenge on any and all evil in this world, even himself, as each clone always dies after every killing. However, his extreme methods blurred the lines between justice and cruelty, raising uncomfortable questions about whether his actions are truly righteous or merely perpetuating a cycle of violence. But I'll touch on this a bit later. In addition, this phenomenon isn't only limited to fiction. Luigi Mangione allegedly murdered United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson as a symbol of rebellion against the healthcare system. As of the making of this video, Mangione has not been sentenced for the alleged crimes, but many people see him as a hero who took down a villain that was plaguing the healthcare industry. According to Y, Mangione was an advocate for pushing back against doctors who dismissed chronic back pain as something patients simply had to endure. His perspective stems from his own experience after receiving spinal surgery, which drastically drastically improved his quality of life. Mangione criticized the capitalistic nature of the medical system, stating in a Reddit post, "We live in a capitalist society. I found that the medical industry responds to these keywords far more urgently than you describing unbearable pain and how it's impacted your quality of life." Mangione saw corruption and greed as the root of many causes of why Americans struggle to receive the care they deserve, singling out United Healthcare as a major contributor to the problem. In a manifesto recovered during his arrest, Mangione's frustration with the healthcare system was very evident. He wrote, "Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the US has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy. United Healthcare continues to grow, yet our life expectancy doesn't." It is speculated that Mangione believes that United Healthcare is preventing its patients from receiving the adequate care they need to have a normal life. If Americans had access to proper, affordable healthcare, they would lead healthier lives and require fewer medical services, disturbing the profit-driven cycle that defines the industry. But is killing Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, through vigilantism truly the answer? Are Akumetsu and Mangione's rebellion against our corrupt society truly the only way to reform our society? The concept of justice is inherently subjective, often shaped by our own personal beliefs and values. In a previous video, I explored the connections between Death Note and the death penalty, discussing how some people feel that there must be someone to enact justice against those who evade the law. But at the same time, granting individuals the power to kill risks desensitizing society to violence, often overshadowing the very reason for why we seek justice in the first place. However, these acts of defiance also raise a difficult question about their long-term effectiveness. While vigilante methods might inspire awareness or spark outrage, they operate outside of the rule of law, risking further chaos or unintended consequences. Some argue that vigilantism is not the answer to addressing social corruption. Instead, they advocate tackling the root of the cause, rather than targeting individuals whose policies represent only a symptom of the larger issues. In Akumetsu, Kaori, Iwasaki Shozo's granddaughter, criticizes Akumetsu's violent methods of dealing with corruption. She believes in addressing the problems through the law, instead of resorting to terror and weapons. This is because it will only perpetuate the circle of hatred. But what about those who can't get the healthcare they deserve, all because the healthcare system wants to prevent losing money if people are healthy? Unfortunately, there is no simple solution. Vigilantism offers swift, direct justice to those marginalized by corporate greed or systematic corruption, providing a temporary sense of relief. However, it can't address the underlying structural problems. Just because the CEO of United Healthcare is dead won't lower healthcare costs, and it won't prevent doctors from continuing to reject spinal surgeries. This is a societal issue that has been plaguing our society and won't be solved just with the death of one individual. In order to change the way our healthcare system works, we need to confront the fundamental flaws in our system, such as capitalism. Akumetsu and Luigi Mangione serve as a reminder of the complexities of vigilantism. While driven by the desire for justice and the frustration with systematic failures, their actions highlight the ethical dilemmas and potential consequences of taking the law into our own hands. And if you found the discussion of Akumetsu and Luigi Mangione relevant to the morally gray areas of vigilantism, you may also be interested in how healthcare should be a right, not a privilege.